Okay, just quickly, I want to go through first off, discuss the episode that I put out just the other day, talking about how Queensland Police Service is being accused of blocking a release, blocking the release of a report, uh, a damaging report about their service delivery program, and this is according to the internal email. So I did that podcast, that episode the other day. Friday evening, I noticed it was really late in the evening. I noticed that this story came out, and it was at the time it struck me as a little strange. I thought because generally you see things come out, and uh, well, I don't know. I just thought it came through on my news feed. Now, according to the ABC, their website, it was brought out, released on Wednesday at 5:40 a.m. This was the ABC was the only one that I'd noticed had run with this particular story. You know, Queensland Police Service, while under the watchful eye of Katarina Carroll, uh, blew through $25.9 million, dollars, 25.9 million, uh, trying to trying to implement this service delivery program. So you get 25.9 million in, and then you decide it's not working, pull the plug. I think it's really strange to me. ABC are the only ones that published this story. It goes out 5:40 a.m. apparently on Wednesday. I only saw it come through my news feed, and I'm nobody, but it came through on my news feed really late that night, really late that night. Which at the time I thought it's a bit strange to get a story which I think is fairly important, and it only comes up. I think it was like quarter to 12, midnight, almost midnight on the Friday night, the night before the election, I believe it was. So I see this come up. Thought, okay, it seemed a bit strange, but I love a good story about the police, the police being inept. Well, when I say police being inept, I'm talking about the hierarchy, commissioners, all that stuff. So anyway, 25.9 million, nothing to show for it. The next day, usually with these kinds of stories, other outlets pick up on it. They're talking about it. This is a lot of money for them to blow through, and no one was held accountable. And that's really what I took out of that whole article when I was reading. I thought, isn't it strange that no one has come out and said, "Well, someone's got to answer for this. Where did the money go? What did you spend it on? You've told us you spent all this public money. Who's held accountable for wasting it? It was 25.9 million, especially when there's a couple of comments, one in particular talking about how they're still in a legal fight. Uh, I don't want to talk about it, but in a legal fight with QPS, and the Queensland Police Service are looking at taking them for legal costs as well. I think it's six of them are going for QCAT. I think it's all tied in with the mandate. So legal costs. QPS want the legal costs, them to pay legal costs. Okay, no one's saying anything about the 25.9 million. And I thought I was thinking about this the whole story, and I thought, well, isn't it strange that I only saw this story comes out late that evening. The next day, no one else had run with this story at all. It hadn't been republished by anyone else. No one's talking about it. Uh, it's just and it was gone. The story, I've looked it up trying to find where it is. It's still, the ABC looks like the only ones that have spoken about it. They've put out one article about it, and I thought, well, isn't this very strange? That QPS always talk about being open and transparent, and yet maybe it's just my overly suspicious mind, but I'd be willing to bet that they are behind this story getting no traction. There was a reason why it was put out so close to the upcoming election, because hey, all of our media here in Queensland were so wrapped up in the election and what was going on. Uh, you know, no one really wanted to get into the drudgery of Katarina Carroll and her ineptitude So I think this is what QPS were looking for. They were looking basically to bury the story, and everyone is just too focused uh, on the upcoming election. And now we have the LNP, so our conservative government. And if just in case you're not from Australia and you think, oh, a conservative government, our conservative is not it's not like American conservative government. Our conservative is more about it's more about being fiscally, financially conservative more than anything else. Uh, anyway, so but our Labor government, they lost the election because they just, for some reason, it just did not dawn on them that maybe, inflation is just going through the roof, and maybe a government shouldn't just be spending like a drunken sailor. Just ridiculous. But Labor's always been like that. They always love to spend the public purse. So yeah, anyway, so it just dawned on me that is it well, I think it's suspicious that, there this story of, I think, misspending, misusing public money, no one being held accountable for it. Katerina is just able to, she didn't even have to finish out her contract. She pulled the pin several months early. She's just ridden off into the sunset. 25.9 million blown. No one's held accountable. But yet some other officers who are fighting with Queensland Police going through QCAT, and Queensland Police are writing them, are looking for the money off them. It just blows your mind. Blows your mind. They have one standard for themselves. They don't want to be held accountable. They don't want to be held accountable for anything. I'm talking about the hierarchy. Talking about the inspectors up all the way up to the commissioners, all the leadership. They don't want to be held accountable, but they sure as heck will hold the junior officers, the senior sergeants down to the connies. They will freaking hold you accountable. Don't you worry about that. Just disgusts me. Now, I'm not just that wasn't the only thing I wanted to talk about. This other story had come up that, considering that it seems that our media just don't seem to be, they're not focused on QPS News at the moment that much. I thought I better talk about it. So this came out on Sky News. Report reveals Queensland Police dismissed thousands of misconduct complaints, including for misuse of authority, assault, and alleged domestic violence. Now, well, before I go on more with this, I will tell you, I put in a complaint about someone. It was last year. An officer. Basically, I had two officers come to the back door. I wasn't here, I was at work. Back door, and it was just before around just before midnight. Come knocking on the house, come round to the backyard, just banging on the walls, woke my wife up. Absolutely, the arrogance. The main officer who was talking just could not give a damn that he'd woken my wife up. Just couldn't care less. I mean, if anyone did that to his wife, there would be hell to pay. But this fella just couldn't care less. Absolute arrogance, the way he spoke. Um, looking for me because he was looking for me because they wanted to serve some papers on me because apparently I had to go to court. I wasn't in trouble, but yeah, I had to go to court for as a witness for a case. Um, but the arrogance, absolute arrogance. And then some wives there half asleep, no idea what he's talking about. So, they've got all this time. They dropped a card off early in the afternoon. No one's bothered coming around for the rest of the day, but they decided just before midnight, that's a good time to come around, bang on the door, and wake someone up. Um, and my wife had to get up at 6 o'clock the next morning to go to work again. It just wrecks her. I put in a complaint about it and the way he spoke. And then and I'm talking about this because of this article, because the way the case, my complaint was just written off. The email I got back was, well, we went through the footage and, yeah, it was a bit late and yeah, it was a bit abrupt or whatever, but everything was all good. You shouldn't have to worry about it. Oh, and they did note that when the officer walked away, and I knew this, the officer walked away and it was just like a bit of a second thought. He was walking away, and just before he gets around the corner, he says to my wife, "Oh, yeah, yeah, sorry about the coming here so late." And that was the extent of the apology. Very sorry. It's not like you're criminals. It's not like you're doing anything wrong or we have to arrest. We're looking for your husband. We have to give him some paperwork. And we decided that we dropped a card in the letterbox at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And we decided that, hey, no one can get back here until almost midnight tonight. That's how. So I make a complaint and it was just basically brushed off. So all this it just reminded me. I was reading this article. Well, wow, isn't it funny? This is what they do. This article. So it reveals QPS dismissed thousands of misconduct complaints. Okay, so a new report from Queensland Police has revealed thousands of complaints made against the service last year were dismissed without action, despite hundreds, including serious accusations of misuse of authority. That's what I thought mine was. Mine was a misuse of authority. It was arrogance. He knew who I was, and he just wanted to make a point. That's what I thought anyway. He was just being a pain. So misuse of authority, assault, and alleged domestic violence. The Queensland Police Service annual report for 2023-24 showed there had been 2,698 complaints, both internally and by members of the public, containing 8,302 allegations, but no action was taken to address 5,400 of the alleged acts of misconduct, despite police deeming the claims lawful and reasonable. Of those 5,400 allegations, 2,769 related to failure of duty, 1,214 to unprofessional conduct, 902 to misuse of authority, 689 to assault or excessive force, 337 to unlawful or unauthorized operational practice, and 120 to members allegedly involved in domestic violence. But, why would they be investigating members to do with domestic violence? It's not like we've had a big inquiry or anything. It's not like they've done that. No. There were also 534 allegations of interfering with or undermining an investigation or legal process. As of June 30, the report said police had finalised just 1,850 complaints, leaving 848 still open, while those resolved resulted in a total of five apologies. Five apologies, only five. Uh, Five managerial resolutions, five explanations, and 16 disciplinary actions. A process known as local management resolution. Oh, yeah, crikey. Yeah, I know that. In which a member of staff undergoes a professional development conversation with a more senior officer or colleague, was used to resolve 489 of the allegations. The report notes LMR was used to provide guidance to staff based on the acknowledgement they would make genuine mistakes, with the aim of helping those subject to allegations to improve their performance and aligning the members' behaviour with the organisation's principles. I'm not sure if the organisation has actual principles these days. Look, I just think everyone makes mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. Okay, everyone can have a lapse of judgment and go the wrong way and things. The issue I've got at the moment is QPS just don't seem to be owning up to anything. They don't. They have officers who are abusing their power, abusing their authority, not doing things the right way, and they're not being held accountable. But the problem is you have senior officers doing the same thing. When you have the commissioner goes and blows 25.9 million, then just pulls the pin on the program, and then she just walks away, because she was earning what was it, some ridiculous amount of money. I think it was like 600 grand a year or something like that. And she just allowed to walk away several months short of when her contract finished. No explanation for the 25.9 million, no accountability at all. And when you have policies brought in about the recruitment where, well, we want to get recruits now who are just interested in money and lifestyle. There's no accountability from the top down. And then they just go and want to brush complaints under the carpet and not hold these other junior officers accountable for their actions either. Um, just dismissing these accounts, dismissing these complaints, uh, as if they don't matter. We've lost the ability to communicate with the public. And we seem to have this generation of just arrogant police who just behave as if they don't have to answer. That's what it seemed like when the way my wife's just describing the way this chap and this other female officer come to the back door. It's like, well, they were there to do a job. I'll be quite honest, none of it really. They were there to do a job, and they didn't really care that they'd woken her up. They didn't really see the point. Well, whatever, we're just here to do our job, and you have to revolve around what we're doing. We've got to serve some really important documents on Jason. Funny thing is, the whole thing fell over, and I didn't have to go to court in the end anyway. It was just a complete waste of time. The QPS, obviously got my phone number. They've had it for a long, long, long time. Got my email address. you know, they'd served me all these other documents via email, but they couldn't get a hold of me until near midnight this time to serve documents. It's just absolutely ridiculous, and then no one could apparently see the problem with it. No one could see the problem with it. And I think I see the officer still getting coffee, and he just kind of side eyes me these days. Anyway, but yeah, this is the issue when there's no accountability. Like we've got these officers like the one that wrote a comment on the YouTube channel about how they're going to QCAT and QPS are chasing them for legal costs. They will chase. It's weird. Some of the things that the organization will chase after, the people that they will chase after for money, they will chase after for to uphold their policies. But then the other things like blowing through 25.9 million, we can overlook that. That's no big deal. Or we can write that off. We can explain all that. It's all good. There's no accountability and nothing that anyone needs to worry about here. I'd like to see the LNP, our new government, are they actually going to hold Katarina, the former leadership team, are they going to hold them accountable for wasting all that money? 25.9 million? We don't need an inquiry. We need her to actually, have someone come around and say, hey, love, you need to come sit before some serious people and answer some serious questions. Give us some proper answers. What the heck happened to the $25.9 million that you were overseeing? Anyway, well, this is just my opinion. It seems strange to me that that other report was put out just before the election. No one else ran with it. There was nothing else to talk about. And QPS have all these complaints made against it, but they can just seemingly write such a vast majority of them off. No accountability. Anyway, hey, that's just my opinion. I'm Jay Fallon. Like they say, just a number. Thanks for listening to The Slippery Slope.
And say it isn't real. And please don't go away. Just give me one more day. What if I could? What if I could turn back time? I'd make you smile again. And if I could unbreak your heart, and we could start again. What if I could? What if I could turn back time? I'd make you smile again. And if I could unbreak your heart, and we could start again. We could start again. We could start again.